All right, everybody, welcome to another episode of Indie Inquiries, where each week we review Steam store pages from indie developers and provide marketing and critiques to help them sell their game the best. I'm, of course, Josh Bycer from Game Wisdom, and joining me, my co host from Nexus Games, Sharky.
Hello, everybody, and Nexus Games is sadly temporary name.
Mm-hmm. For this week's show, we're splitting things up into a video review of the game Subsistence. And then for part two, we're going to be breaking down our review process with some of our favorite games that we've covered so far on the show. So, are you ready to get into things, Sharky?
Yes, let's get started.
All right, let's do it. So, what game do you want to start first with? Kobu?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So, let me close out Subsistence here. There we go.
This is going to be a very, very different part from what we normally do.
Mm-hmm. As for those of you who've been watching us, either live or recorded, we've been doing Indie Inquiries now for, I think, like 3-4 months, maybe a little bit more than that.
I think we've been doing it longer than that. I think it's been like 4 or 5.
Something along those lines. Again, time has no meaning.
We're on like episode like 31 now. So
something like that. So
we take that and divide that by 4, and that would probably be still less than the time that we had.
Mm-hmm.
So like 30 divided by 4, what is that? I'm brain farting.
Like maybe like 6.5, 7, somewhere in there.
7.5.
Mm-hmm.
So we've probably been doing this for 8-9 months.
But
you're like 3 months.
But we haven't done a show yet that kind of breaks down what we're looking for. And like this whole part will be standalone, from obviously the Subsistence review. And what we want to do here is
the Subsistence review, in contrast to this, does show kind of what not to do, and now we're going to show you what to do. So if you missed that episode, which, if you're watching this on the edited version, go watch that one so that you can have context of what not to do before we come into what to do, which is, and how we grade, which is what we're doing in this one. Rather than covering a specific game this time, we're just covering how we grade and what are some good examples on how to get good grades.
And we have 4 of kind of our higher grades in various aspects lined up.
Give me 5.
5. 5 of our kind of top games. Not all of them got like A plus or A in all categories, but they each did something stand out in one or more. And that's kind of what is why we're going to be bringing them up here.
Yeah.
So, like we say, when we talk about how we review these store pages, the first thing that we review, obviously, is the thumbnail. And we do that for a very specific reason. That's often, like, if you're on a store page, that's going to be the first thing that you see when you're scrolling down.
If you're coming from Steam.
Yeah. And also, when I look at games that I want to review or pick up keys for on whether it's Keymailer or other press-related sites, the first thing that I'm looking at is the thumbnail. And the thing is, I think this is an important point we need to clarify for everyone. When we look at these games, typically, if they do one thing really, really well, other things will often be good or equally well as well. If they do something horrible, like if the thumbnail is just trash, most likely the game is going to be of similar quality.
Yeah. At least the not necessarily the game, but rest of the store page. Because, I mean, usually if something gets a C, then, most things get around a C.
Yeah.
If you often don't see, something getting a F and then getting an A and then getting a B and then getting a D and then getting a C. You often don't see that. You often see like you know, F,
Hmm.
low D, maybe one high grade,
Hmm.
F and F, kind
Yeah.
of thing.
And when we originally did this show as our Weird Games segment on our Sunday Cast a Safely Extreme show, we just looked at like the weirdest and worst games we could find. And the way we found them was by looking at thumbnails. What is
Hmm.
the most
And names.
horrible, yep, names and thumbnails. And it was very easy to find those games. And the games that stood out in terms of quality, excuse me, had really good thumbnails. They
In
attracted
general,
your eye. Yep.
but not always, because I mean,
Hmm.
there's some really bad games that have really good thumbnails,
Yep.
and there's some really good games that have really crappy thumbnails.
And unfortunately, is a shame because when it comes to marketing your game, you need to have good marketing if you want people to buy it. I can love a game. There are plenty of games that I've loved over the last few years, and many of them have sub 100 reviews, even sub 50.
Mm,
And that is not what you want to see.
yeah,
So,
and Tommy brings up a good point there. People
mm,
tell you not to judge a book by a cover, but people judge books by their cover all the time.
yeah.
And your thumbnail here, if you're coming from Steam to this page, that thumbnail is your cover
Yeah.
that people are
And
going to judge your game by.
And again, there are anomalies to this. Like when a big name YouTuber or streamer will cover a game, and at that point, if it blows up, all the other marketing is kind of moot. Kind of like what
But
happened with Among Us.
that's not going to be coming from your Steam store.
Hmm.
That's going to be coming from Google searches. Maybe somebody just hops into Steam and does a direct search there.
Yeah.
It's but maybe they're coming from a link that the YouTuber put in their video.
Hmm.
They're not coming from they're looking for a new game on Steam and they found yours and they bought it.
Yeah. And
But when it comes to that case is where the case for most games that
hmm
do not get extremely lucky. If unless you get extremely lucky with that kind of thing, the thumbnail is the lit end all be all for that kind of thing.
and the other thing to understand is that when we see games blow up because of YouTubers and streamers covering it, it's not because of the YouTuber and streamer who covered it that got them the fame. It's doing a really good job of marketing and getting the word out there so that then those YouTubers and streamers covered it. And we say this a lot that a lot of developers and consumers don't understand, I think, the impact good marketing and PR has on the success or failure of a game.
Yeah. And oftentimes, you see amazing games with bad marketing fail horribly.
Hmm.
You see really shit games
With
with
good
really
marketing.
good marketing and they succeed wildly.
Yep.
So when it comes to marketing, I mean, like it is pretty much your livelihood. If you mess up the marketing, everything you did over the last 3 years developing your game was more than likely pointless because
Yep.
nobody's going to
And this
experience
is
it, see it, buy it, anything.
And this is why when I give a lot of my talks to like students and teenagers, I say that while it's not the most glamorous job, marketing and PR are essential skills if you want to become, run your own studio or do game development for a living.
Yep.
Because it doesn't matter if you spent 10 years of your life and, took out 2 or 3 mortgages on your home if nobody buys your game.
Yeah. And here's another thing
Hmm.
is if you don't have the publishing the publishing the marketing skills, hire somebody to do it.
Yep.
And that gets me into my other point about publishers. There are many bad publishers out there,
Hmm.
and we've covered several of them here on the show because they're supposed to be there helping with the marketing, at least for most of them anyway.
Yep. If a
And we've seen some with absolutely horrible Steam pages. Some of them have like really good parts to it, and then just really like they're like like we've seen title cards where it's like, hey, just come to the publisher, just come to the publisher, just come to the publisher, just come to the publisher kind of thing, and ignore the developer of this game, and just selling themselves so that and they're collecting all this money for making these subpar, if not bad, Steam pages, and they're promoting the heck out of themselves at the same time of screwing over your game and taking 30% of every bit of money you have from your game.
And that would be, like, I think that's a little bit separate from what we're going to talk about today, but it is something you need to pay attention to as a developer.
Yeah.
So let's get back, or let's take a look again at what makes a good thumbnail. Let me see what David said.
Rattel said, $500 marketing, and you only got 360-ish players and no sales. Well, what that tells you is you put money into it, and you didn't have good marketing. You had $500 worth of bad marketing.
And unfortunately,
bad marketing, no matter how much money you put into it, you could put $1 million into bad marketing and not get anybody. You gotta have good marketing. Good marketing sells itself. You don't have to even have money into it. Money will certainly help it, but money is not the end-all be-all when it comes to that.
Yeah. So let's talk about what we're looking for.
Sounds like it wasn't a good PR company. I mean, did they make you a custom trailer that was great for it?
Never work with them again. Yep. And like we said, we could probably do some basic like marketing and store page design like for ourselves. Like we could offer that as a service at some point.
Yeah. Maybe we'll become publishers.
There we go.
And we'll do a lot better than a lot of these crappy publishers. Just by making you a store page.
So
which is one of the most key things to your marketing.
So with that, let's talk about the thumbnails. So what we're looking for, one, is there needs to be something that attracts your eye to it. And with the Kobu one, we have, the lovely light orb, or even the character's eyes on the upper left-hand side.
Yeah. Definitely draws your eyes. And then there needs to be a structure to it. Where basically the best structures are in a triangle formation, because triangles lead your eye. A square is like, which way do I go? I don't know. But when you got a triangle, it's like, okay, I know where to go. Kind of thing with your eye. So like you can see like a triangle being formed here between the character's eyes. The character's feet splashes a little blue glow down here near his feet.
Kobu.
And then you also see one over here at the name. And you're getting this triangle formation here. And it's drawing, and you see that the long side of the triangle is pointing towards the name. And that is really, really good structure, because you want to point to the name rather than away from the name.
Yeah. And if we switch over to the other example of Tiny Thor, with its thumbnail, you can see kind of like the structure is there as well, with kind of leading your eye from kind of the northwest part, or the top west, to then going down, and then going to the right, to where like kind of the snake is. Yeah.
And the Thor hammer really, kind of leads your eyes to kind of subsect the thing.
And if we go back to Kobu, like again, like if your name, like you can have weird names, like, again, like naming and like that kind of marketing, that's another topic in of itself. But for the thumbnail, you want your title to stand out. It has to be legible. Now, the subtitle, the tree spirit here, that's not as important on your first game. It's more important if you're building this into a franchise, like, Ori or Hollow Knight or stuff like that.
Yeah, because everybody cares about Ori for the first game. Nobody cares about, what was it, Will-O-the-Wisp?
No, the Blind Forest, I think was the
Blind
first one.
Forest, yeah.
Yeah.
So nobody cared about that because they didn't need to know anything but Ori from that game.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when the Blind Forest came out, they needed to know both Ori and the Blind Forest, rather
Mm-hmm.
than just that. So in that case, you would want that to be big enough print to be readable. But on the first game, if you have a subname, it's not important to be big on your thumbnail.
Yeah.
And Antoine on my chat has a question about would you say it's better to release a coming soon page on Steam and get a bunch of wish lists before release, or go full release when the game is ready without having an early Steam page?
Mm.
I would say you would need more context in there.
Mm-hmm.
So the
Yeah.
first thing I would say is you don't want to have a Steam page out until it's a good grade Steam page.
It's a dynamite page.
Yeah, you want a really good Steam page before you put it public. Because if you put forth a bad Steam page and put that public, that's going to be anti-marketing for you.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't want that. You want good marketing.
Yep,
Now, that said, is the sooner that you can get that A plus, Steam page out there and build up wish lists, the better, at least to a certain point.
Mm-hmm.
But here's some caveats on that. Number one, putting your Steam page out there is hard marketing. And when you do hard marketing, you want to take several precautions. One thing is when you release your Steam page, don't just quote unquote release it kind of thing. You need to, before you do that, you need to contact press and all this other stuff and make an event out of your Steam page releasing. Have journalists call it, be ready there before it's released, so that the day it releases kind of thing,
Mm-hmm.
the journalists are right there on that day saying, hey, this game just released their Steam page. It looks really good.
Check it out. Hey, we've, so and so, we are finally up and ready for, our game is on Steam or it's coming soon. Here's our page. Like it, wish list it, do all that other crazy stuff to it.
Yeah, but before you do that, you need to have your Steam page needs to be on point. So like, ideally, we wouldn't grade your page because you would need to know basically how to grade your own page before doing that. Because I mean, we can probably technically review unreleased pages, but that's very hard because we would probably need the person here in the call with us streaming video of that of their store page behind closed doors kind of thing. And that's not going to be an easy thing to do. I mean, when I do my Steam page for my current game, Neon Continuum, that's what we'll be doing. We'll be doing a primary review before the game even releases kind of thing. But, or, releases a store page. But like, it's easier for me because I'm part of the show, some privilege there. But, also I already, it should be a fairly good grade. I doubt it's going to be the most amazing Steam page, but it will be after we review it and I do changes. But the fact is that when you release the store page, you want to release it with a bang, and it's got to, for that your Steam page needs to be on point. You need to contact press and everything. You need to contact everybody that you can to promote the heck out of it. And then from that point forward, you're gathering wish list. And when you do it with a bang like that, Steam's algorithm notices that and will send more people to your store page, which gets you more wish list. If you just release a store page that is really good kind of thing, and you don't do all the press contacts and everything, Steam will send more people your way, but it's going to be a slow ramp rather than just an explosion with a ramp going straight up,
And another thing you have to keep in mind is that you shouldn't be waiting until your game is done to have your store page up. Like, you need to have this up, like Shark said, once you have something solid and concrete that's amazing, you essentially begin that marketing process.
At
Because
least 6 months before release,
yeah,
bare
because
minimum.
you do
Because six
not.
months before release, you should be on your hard marketing kind
Yeah,
of campaign. So, like,
you should not be waiting 1 month before your game is out to start doing marketing for it.
yeah, you definitely should not. But you know, this if you can get a really good store page out, and you can get it out in like a year before you release, maybe a year and a half, and you have your marketing and
Mm-hmm.
everything on point, and you go and talk to everybody, do it.
Mm-hmm. But you
But
need to be ready for
don't put
that.
your don't put your Steam package out until it's ready and it's polished and you have press stuff lined up.
Yeah. Because the worst thing you can do is get all that early momentum, and then you do nothing with it, and your whole game just fizzles out.
Mm-hmm.
So the other example of, I think, a really solid thumbnail would be from Rise of the Slime. If we look at this again, you can see this triangle forming from the slime on the left, title in the middle, the guy on the right.
Yeah.
While the art is debatable, I know some people don't like it, some people do like it. This is still really solid structure of what you want out of a thumbnail.
Yeah. I personally like the art,
Mm-hmm.
but it's not for everybody. Some people definitely do not like it.
Yeah, and again, you see that triangle forming, and it just guides and anywhere that you look on this thumbnail, it guides your eye towards the title, and that is really good.
They have multiple eye guidance because even the cards,
Yep.
the way they're fanned out, the middle three lead your eye to the Rise of the Slime, and the outside two leads it to these outside guys, which then leads your eyes to Rise of the Slime, the title.
Yeah.
And so there's multiple facets here guiding your eye to where you want to guide the eye to the title of the game.
Yep.
And you want to grab the eye as well, with big colors, like this really glowing yellow and this really glowing blue.
Mm-hmm.
And you definitely want stuff to grab the eye. Like we said with the Kobo, the glowing eye and that orb, that really grabs your attention.
Mm-hmm. And like these thumbnails, I think we would give them I think either A's or high B's. I think we were on that line. I don't think we've yet to give a thumbnail an A plus, have we?
I think we might have.
I know no S's, that's for sure.
No S's.
But yeah, again, the structure is important as well as the quality of the art that you're showing. And what you don't want to do is have a thumbnail that is just like a crazy collage of images that make no sense whatsoever. If you look at YouTube clickbait thumbnails, that is the exact opposite of what you want for your thumbnail for a game page.
There is another important point for the thumbnail that we did not talk about yet, and that's it needs to tell you what you're doing in the game,
or at least some idea what the genre is.
Yeah.
Like with Rise of the Slime
has cards and it has the characters on these little popsicle sticks, billboarded.
Mm-hmm.
And it shows you that you're going to have billboarded characters walking around and playing a card game of some sort. So it does, convey what you're going to be doing to some point in this thumbnail.
Now with something like Tiny Thor, that art is not 1-to-1 of what the game is going to be, but it does evoke that style of 8-bit and 16-bit games that, the thumbnail or your box art is of a different quality than your game art.
Yeah. And it also evokes that you're going to be doing combat as Thor.
With a hammer.
With a hammer. I mean, it does tell you to a point what you're going to be doing in the game.
Mm-hmm. So
Kabuto is a little bit more opaque to what it says. You're going to be,
this guy
playing as this character. but it does provoke like a mystery kind of feeling. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Like, not like mystery as in this is a mystery game, but mystery as in you'll be discovering stuff as you'll be going forward. Which,
Yeah.
if I believe right, that is how the game does.
Mm-hmm. So with that, let's get to some trailers. And let's start with, I'm pretty sure we gave Rise of the Slime a good review for its trailer, but let's start with Oxygen Not Included.
Yeah.
So when it comes to trailer, I'm not going to zoom or put full screen on mine for this part. But what you were looking for, yeah.
All right, let's start it.
So now Clay gets a pass because you normally don't put like any logos or publisher or developer at the start because unless you're already well established or Red Hook. Yeah. But the trailer has a cold opening. It's using footage that is altered and or edited in some way. Like it's zooming in. It's not showing the UI.
Yeah. Although showing UI can be important but that's only important as long as they don't know what genre the game is.
Yeah.
But once you convey what genre the game is, the UI is no longer important.
Yeah. Now,
unless you're actually showing a menu or something or a mechanic of the game.
In terms of structure of your trailer, you want to go cold opening, an intro, the middle that kind of shows you, what somebody's doing.
Yeah, it's a build.
Yeah. The build goes to your kind of outro or climax. And then you want to have a call to action. And Oxygen Not Included's call to action is not the best. You want to not only show your title, but you also want to show, where the game's available, who are the developer and publishers, when's it coming out, that kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if we go to Rise of the Slime, are you ready for that?
Yeah. Maybe. There we go.
It starts with a cold opening, gets right to the title.
Well, mine's not playing yet. There it goes.
Yeah, and you want
definitely code opening. Code opening needs to be something exciting. It needs to be something polished. It needs to be something really funny. It needs some kind of hook to attract attention and basically convince people to keep on watching.
Yeah, and the music should be kind of matching what's going on in the game, and you typically don't want in-game music in your trailer.
Yeah. Usually in-game music doesn't fit well for trailers.
Yeah. Now, the call to action, the end of Rise of the Slime, is really well done. We have the title, very front center. We have when it's out, which it's already out. We have a website. We have every platform that's available on.
And it's cosmetically appealing. It's not just a black screen, which we see that so many times.
The only thing that I would say they could improve on would be to have maybe like a little extra, like a little bonus clip after the call to action. Something to end it on like a funny note or things like that.
Which is not required, but it can make your trailer better if you have something and something funny to end it on. You don't want to end it on like a boss fight or anything like that. But like if you have something, a little funny moment that you can put after the call to action, it'll just it's like, I'm interested in the game, and here's the platform.
It's the icing on the cake, kind of.
And then it's like, hit you with a funny moment, and you're like, I gotta definitely get the game.
When we looked at 2D and Top D, and the character, after the call out, you're just like, can we start the fight already? He sits down frustrated, which was very funny.
Yeah.
But yeah, these are really good examples of trailers. They show there's a flow to them. They're showing what's going on in the game. They're showing a build-up of more and more. Now, Oxygen Not Included definitely goes, I think, a little bit above and beyond with the fact that it has both in-game footage and you have kind of the custom art of that kind of thing.
Yeah, little custom animations.
Now,
That's not even in the game, but like
yeah.
it's of the game stuff, and it's
Hmm.
not separated kind of thing. It's not just here's
Hmm.
a random cutscene. It's stuff that tells you stuff about the game kind
Yeah.
of thing, and
And
it gives you context and stuff. And it doesn't have to be directly about the game because like for me, in my trailer that I'm going to be working on at some point soon, I
mhm,
have already worked on it to some point with planning and whatnot. I'm planning on doing animations like that are cut between
mhm,
the parts of the game. And the way I'm structuring mine is it's going to be a story of what happens as you're playing the game.
mhm.
I mean, it's not going to be. I mean, it's a multiplayer only game, so obviously there's not a story that's live happening while you're in the thing. But the actual animation in combination with the gameplay is going to tell you a story that you are playing
Mhm.
during the time when you're playing the game.
Yeah. And what Shark said about the trailer providing context is very important. By the end of the trailer, somebody should know exactly what kind of game your game is going to be. They should have a really good idea of what this gameplay is going to be, and they should know, like, very much after watching it, whether they're going to buy the game or not.
Yeah, your trailer is the most important part of any marketing campaign.
Mm-hmm. And
And while we do not grade on aesthetics of your game,
mm-hmm.
the fact is it is a very it will ruin your trailer. It won't ruin your trailer grade,
Mm-hmm.
but it will ruin your trailer to consumers if your art aesthetics are not on point.
Yeah, and that's
So
another topic in of itself.
yeah, but to get a full good trailer, you need the art aesthetics, you need everything to mesh well,
Mm-hmm.
you need context provided, you need as much polish as you can while still showing gameplay, as much gameplay as you're possible, which is very, very hard when you're talking about turn-based stuff.
Mm-hmm. And
And
there's 2 points that we didn't mention that I think are important. First one, the length of a trailer. Your trailer should be no more than a minute and a half. Now,
we're referring to your main trailer, the
yeah.
trailer that's in the front. You can have gameplay trailers and stuff after that are longer than that.
Mm-hmm.
But when we're talking about like your main trailer, the only one that counts in a lot of cases, your first trailer,
Mm-hmm.
absolutely no longer than 90 seconds.
And you
91
want,
seconds is absolutely unacceptable.
yeah,
And you don't want to make a 90-second trailer if your game cannot sustain
exactly.
90 seconds.
Yeah, you want the goal, like what you're looking for is a trailer that it feels shorter than it is. And you accomplish that by making the trailer feel very fast paced, by having good editing, that you're keeping somebody's eyes glued to it. So that when it's over, they're like, wait, did I just watch like a minute long trailer? It was only like 10 seconds to me.
Yeah.
And
Now with the trailer I'm making for my current game,
mhm,
my goal is to make it 29 seconds.
mhm,
And you guys may be asking, why 29 seconds? Why not 30? Why not 31? Why not 35? Why not 90? And the reason is when you're talking about advertising and marketing your game, one good source of that would be YouTube ads.
mhm,
And YouTube ads, the way they charge you is they charge you in two different ways. They charge you if somebody clicks on it. And that's a good thing to be charged on because if somebody clicks on it, they're obviously interested in your game. They're going to come to your store page. They're going to come
mhm,
for probably buy your game. The as long as your store page is on point, and whatnot, and it appeals to them. And the other aspect is time. Slash, if you have some kind of stuff that makes it unskippable or stuff like that, they charge you for making it unskippable.
mhm,
Past the first 5 seconds, unless you just made a 5 second trailer, which would not be advisable.
mhm.
But the time where they charge you if somebody watches to that time is 30 seconds. So if you have a 30-minute trailer, a 30-minute video on YouTube that you upload as an ad, and people skip it before they get to the 30-second mark, you're not charged. But if they get to the 30-second mark, they charge you. So if you make a trailer that is only 29 seconds, then you will never get charged for somebody watching the whole entire trailer. You will only get charged when somebody clicks on it, which, will make your ad budget go a lot farther. Now, that said, is being such a short trailer, only 29 seconds, we're probably going to want a second trailer. I can almost guarantee you we're going to want a second trailer because of the length. And, so like that will help us with our marketing budget. That will help us, with, and being 29 seconds is going to be, the shorter it is, the easier it is to hold their attention kind of thing. And, also the more polished and everything you can make it. So like we can pump a lot more resources into making that short trailer way more polished and way more epic and explosive and edited and just over the top and just put out all the bells and whistles kind of thing to make it the most amazing marketing tool we possibly can. And trailer is a major part of our grade when we do these things, because it is the most important part of your marketing campaign. And when you're thinking about marketing your game, you shouldn't start marketing when you start making your game. You should start planning out your marketing plan. You need to start the marketing phase at the very start, but you don't actually start marketing your game until much later. At least hard marketing. You can soft market, and soft market would be, releasing videos on your YouTube channel, not other people's YouTube channels, on, releasing, inviting people to your Discord, getting feedback for your stuff on like game dev Discords, which is not a good place to market your game, but it is a good place to get feedback, and it's an okay place to show off your stuff because it would be considered soft marketing. But like,
but we are getting off topic here for this part here.
Yeah.
And to bring this back to the trailers, like we said, you can have multiple trailers, and typically for more advanced or complicated games, you're going to want at least a second, maybe even a third trailer that is either like gameplay specific, maybe developer walkthrough. But that kind of stuff should not be in your primary trailer, and that's the thing that we grade the most for our shows.
Yeah.
You can have 10 different trailers, but if your first one is bad, the rest of them aren't really going to be, motivating people to keep watching.
And if it's longer than 90 seconds, it's bad.
Yeah. So let's talk about the screenshots. The screenshots are probably the easiest thing to get a good grade on. What we're looking for first is you have at least 5, as we've said. That is the bare minimum Steam requires. What we're looking for are screenshots that are unique to the store page, so they were not shown in the trailer itself. And to get bonus points, we want there to be like editing or, again, additional work done. So it's not just you taking a screenshot from your game, posting it on there, but maybe zooming in, showing something specific, things along those lines.
If we want to start looking at Oxygen Not Included. So yeah, when you look at Oxygen Not Included, you can see that they zoomed in on the game as well as they cropped it. At least they probably cropped it. They may have not cropped it and just put a little thing to turn off the UI. I don't think it's necessarily important to program a little thing that you can turn off the UI in. But, I mean, it may be depending on your game. But if you zoom in and crop your screenshots, you're cropping the UI stuff out, essentially. Like, UI can be important to show at some points, but as long as the only times to show that is when you're trying to show off a unique mechanic that needs a UI, or when the players don't know what kind of game it is.
Yeah,
And
and you
that is
can.
something you want to convey as quickly as possible. So, in your the first part of your trailer, in the, although it is possible to potentially show off your genre and what the gameplay is about without the
Mhm,
UI, but that's not possible in all games, and it's
mhm.
not feasible in a lot of them.
Yeah,
But
and
Oxygen Not Included was able to pull that off somehow.
yeah, and they do have screenshots that have UI on them, and that's important because it's showing off kind of the gas and liquid, how things are transferred across your base,
Yeah.
and again, like this is what you want to see. You want to give the player an idea, a what the game is going to be actually playing it, and b you need to prove to them that there's more to the game than just what's in the trailer. Like if your trailer shows X, Y, and Z, you don't want to take those exact scenes and turn them into your screenshots.
Yeah, because that would mean you don't have a screenshot
Mm-hmm.
because they've already seen that. They have no interest in seeing that again.
Yeah.
Now, there is some exceptions to that. And the exception is when you're only doing it like with one screenshot and it's such a pivotal screenshot, maybe two
Mm-hmm.
screenshots.
Like a
If you
boss
have a lot,
fight.
if you have a lot more than five,
Mm-hmm.
anyway, if if those screenshots are specifically over pivotal points, like an epic boss fight kind
Mm-hmm.
of thing or something like that. But if it's just a boss fight and it's not some kind of epic spectacle, don't show it off twice.
Yep. You don't want generic footage in your trailer and then generic footage in your screenshots.
Mm-hmm.
So with that, let's get to the about this game, and
So what game do we want to look at here?
let's look at Rise of the Slime, then we'll go to Revita.
Okay.
So the about this game page, or this part of your page, this is kind of like you've hooked them with the trailer, you got them with the screenshots. Now you need to kind of like stick the landing, or get the fish on the boat, in a matter of speaking. And
it's the fact that the others did not make the consumer pull the trigger yet.
yeah, you're
And
close.
because they have not fully pulled the trigger yet, they're looking for more information on your game.
Mm-hmm.
Because either you didn't convey information well enough in your trailer and screenshots, or it wasn't polished enough, or they're just very, very hard to please, and or they just want to examine more because they don't have money to buy it right now.
Mm-hmm.
Something along that line. That's the only reason why they come down to about this game page. Now, about this game page is one of the hardest places to get a good grade because it's the place where you can get the most amount of polish and everything everywhere, kind of thing, without having a video editor for your trailer.
Yep.
And that being said, it's really good to have a really good grade here, but it is
secondary
far from the
to
most
the trailer.
important. It's because they will only be here if your trailer, screenshots, and thumbnail were not enough.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have to scroll down, and let me tell you, most people are not going to scroll down. The only way they're going to scroll down is if those three things were not enough for them, but they were to pull the trigger, but they were enough to keep them interested. Oops, I hit my mic. Did you hear that?
No.
Okay. But if it wasn't enough to make them pull the trigger, but it was enough to make them pull the scroll thing down to see your about this game page.
Yeah.
So
I would argue that if your game is in early access, people will probably also want to look at the about this game page to see what you actually have planned for it.
Yeah, quite possibly.
Yeah.
But not necessarily.
So what we're looking at, first, color is your friend. You need to have something that keeps somebody's eyes interested. So one of the things that we always look for is what is at the very top. Like if you're scrolling down, what is the first thing they're going to see when they get to the about this game section? Because it doesn't matter if you have a beautiful GIF all the way at the bottom, if the first thing they see is a wall of text.
Yep.
So when you look at Rise of the Slime, we have, the About This Game, we have the Prologue edition, install game, you see the color of the thumbnail. We keep scrolling down, we have a little bit of text, and then we see what we want to see. And that is a custom banner or a custom GIF that, it's eye-catchy, it makes somebody want to see it.
Yeah. And when we're talking about custom banner, we're talking about this play it your way with this little squirrely thing on either side. And that's really nice polish. It's an image that has text on it and it stands out from the other text and it's polished.
Yep. You want to have, in terms of structure, you want to have no more than like 3 lines of full text.
You won't no more than a paragraph.
Yeah.
And so, the paragraph is really pushing it.
Yeah, like if you have like 6, 7, like if you have an entire, page.
If you have a run-on paragraph, that is really bad.
No. And what you're looking for is GIFs that go with your banners or go with your major points. So if you have a marking point, unique weapon customization, then I want to see a GIF of what unique weapon customization looks like. If it's, crazy enemies, show me crazy enemies. This is where show, not tell is important.
Yeah. And the other thing is put some work into your GIFs. GIFs, rather. Don't just make a GIF and just put it up willy-nilly. You can see here that they have cropped this. What they did was they cropped the entire top of it because you can still see the UI in the corners, because this would be a good GIF to have UI in, because you wouldn't have no idea what the heck's happening in this if there was a UI in here.
Yeah, and like the winner of, I think, best GIF that we've seen is this one under Fiendishly Tactical. That it goes like picture in picture between 3 distinct areas. Like, that is like a Rolls Royce, like a quality GIF right there.
Yeah.
Now,
it's a Lamborghini of GIFs.
Yeah. Now, if we go to the Revita page and we scroll down, we not only have custom banners, we have custom GIFs with its own titles as well on it.
Yeah, it's almost like they built the custom banners into the GIFs. Which is a way to do it. I don't know if that's the best way for every game, but it certainly looks good on this one. You need to decide what's best for yours. Not only that, but there's also this custom border around the GIFs. And you can see that the GIFs are zoomed in, as well as they're cropped to certain sections, kind of thing. And another thing is, you don't want a really long GIF. GIF. You want one that is short and to the point. No more than 4 seconds.
Yeah, I mean, if you were going to do something like very, very specific, like show like a 5 seconds of a boss like doing like crazy animations and the player ducking and weaving out of the way, you can do that. But typically, like if your GIF is like 5 or 6 distinct sections, it's better to cut those up into 5 or 6 different GIFs.
Unless you're trying to show a contrast, like 500 different environments,
Here's the fire, here's the ice, here's the forest, here's the jungle.
Yeah. And you want to be quickly between them, But like that would be the real exception to the rule right there. But like outside of that, you don't want to have multiple scenes in a GIF. And you want, and to Josh's point about the boss fight, 5 seconds, what I would do is put that on a slightly higher speed and make it 4 seconds.
Yeah.
Make it a little bit faster, because length of the GIF matters for multiple reasons. Number one, they only have a certain amount of text to read. They're only going to look at the GIF for so long. Don't make it long. You want them to be reasonably short, and you want them to be to the point, as well as cropped and everything, and
Hmm.
anything custom you can do to them, as well as you want to have oh, what was I going to say? You probably know it.
Sure. You want to have someone to them. I can't think of what else.
I can't either.
But like with Revita, like my favorite gif on this one is the defeat heal sacrifice. That not only does it have the banner, but the banner is actually lighting up in relation to what part it's talking about.
Yeah, but it is a bit long.
Yeah. But again, I
Oh,
think.
now I remember what the other point was.
Mhm.
The other point is you want it to be on the shorter side because people do not have fast internet everywhere.
Mhm.
People have really bad internet. And if the GIF does not load before they scroll down, then you have no GIF on your store page.
Yeah. But like with something like Revita here, like this is really solid. Like the one thing that I think this would do to kind of put it over the top is that if you have any kind of like Discord or contact or something to end the About This Game page section on, you want to have it at the bottom. Like
Yeah, you
one
want a
more
call to
final
action.
custom GIF or custom banner.
It would be nice if you have a call to action at the end of your About This Game and at the beginning.
Yeah. It's okay to
Like,
repeat the information if it's like a call to action.
yeah, like I mean, it's they have the add to your wish list at the beginning, which is a good call to action. You could also
Hmm.
have a join our Discord here,
Yeah. And
and then
here's
you
a.
could have either one or both at the bottom. If they
Mhm.
duplicated the add to your wish list at the bottom, that would have
Mhm.
been really good. If
Yeah.
they duplicated that GIF, but like. It would also been good if they had one that said, join our Discord at
Hmm.
one place or the other or both.
Yeah, I won't go to auction not included for a second because another point that we didn't touch on is the length of your About This Game page. Length is not really a factor in the way that if it's really short or really long, if it's going to affect the grade. What we're looking for is keeping to its structure. With
Yeah.
auction not included, it is a very long About This Game page. But this is like textbook perfect structure for it. The only thing that they're missing would have been like a custom banner for each section.
And they could have done better with the GIFs
Mhm.
by putting custom, frames around them,
Mhm.
stuff like that.
But in terms of the structure, like this is perfect. This is what you want. You want to have a section, you want to have a few lines of text, and then you want to have a GIF that goes with it.
Yeah. Now I do want to point out at the start of there About This Game page, that is exactly a paragraph.
Yeah,
And
that is
that
like
is the
right.
longest you possibly want your text.
Yeah, that is like right on like the edge of being, too long.
Too long.
Or yeah.
Yeah. Two more letters on here, one more word. If they
Hmm.
put the word, fight at the end of that, it would have been too long.
Yeah.
You know,
But
it- so you definitely want to, keep this as short as possible. When we look at like, I think Revita,
hmm
they have it 2 sentences,
hmm
1 sentence, on most of these, and that's ideally what you want, but that is not possible with all parts of all games, kind of thing.
yeah,
But
some
like, you want to keep the maximum to what Clay has right here on Oxygen Not Included. That very first thing, a paragraph, not a
yeah,
run-on paragraph, a paragraph, which is 4 lines at most.
yeah, and do not do the writing a novel on this About This Game page.
Oh
This is
no.
a game that's all about and just keep going down. Even if you're listing amazing things, you do not want a wall of text.
Yeah.
And we gave both Rise of the Slime and Revita really good marks for their store pages, thanks to the added work that went into their banners and their gifts.
hmm But it's banners and gifts like that can raise your trailer grade.
Yeah, you still need
But
structure.
yeah, but you need a solid trailer grade to begin with, because you would rather everything else lower your trailer grade than everything else raise your trailer grade.
Yeah. And again, if your trailer is bad, most likely people will not even see all this,
Yeah.
which is a shame.
hmm Because, there's some games with some, really good gameplay, really bad trailers, and really good about this game page.
Mm-hmm.
I've
So,
seen some of those come from, submissions. People watch our show,
mm-hmm.
they didn't know how to, edit trailers, but they
Have really
followed
interesting
all of our
gameplay.
advice on, like, about this game page and stuff like
Mm-hmm.
that, but
So,
still ended up with subpar grades because they didn't nail their trailer.
yeah. So let's go to the final section then, and that is the title card. And I think I'm going to
What
stay
game do
on
we want to look
Revita for this one.
at? Rita.
So,
Okay.
when it comes to the title card, there's two purposes to it. One, it's to allow Steam and the algorithm to know what your game is and who to market it to. And number two, this is how people are going to find you or get in touch with you. Both are very important when it comes to even the overall success of your marketing. Because
Yeah.
you can have an amazing store page, if no influencers or YouTubers or streamers can get in touch with you, there goes like a huge bulk of your marketing right there.
Yep. And if nobody on Steam can find you because you don't have good tags, there goes the bulk of your marketing there.
And then if nobody finds your game, Steam's gonna go, this is a dead game, and they're gonna bury you.
Yeah. And they're going to do that really quickly.
Oh
The
yes.
first stage of burying is on day one of release.
Mm-hmm.
The second stage, I think, is at week one.
Mm.
And the third stage, I believe, is at month one. And the next stage is at 3 months.
Yeah. And this is why we say that a strong opening is very important for the success of your game.
Actually, there is one other point where they do it.
Hmm?
They do it when you're wish listing. When you first
Mm-hmm.
put your game up on Steam, if you lead with that explosion, like I was saying earlier,
Mm-hmm.
Steam will take note of that, and they will, lead more people there, for your wish list. The more people who are wish listing and looking at your page, the more they're going to actually promote it.
Yep. And when you don't do that, it really just completely kneecaps your entire game.
Mm-hmm.
So what we're looking for then on this title card, first your genre tags. The more, the better. Now there's generic tags, indie, early access, like those.
Single player, multiplayer.
Mhm. Those tags are not as important, but they're still good to have.
Yeah. And keep in mind that when you're putting tags on your game,
Mm-hmm.
only very few actually apply to the title card, which is stupid, but that's the way Steam works.
Yeah. If you click on or mouse over categories at the top of the store page, it shows you all your genres. And you want to make sure that your title card has a few of these that fit.
Yeah,
So if it's
although I'm pretty sure a lot of these won't actually show up on your title card.
yeah.
I'm pretty sure not even half of these show up there.
Mm. And you want
They should all show up there, but
Yeah.
Steam doesn't.
exactly, it only gets buried multiple times.
Yeah.
Yeah. So when we look at the title card for Revita, indie and early access, technically they don't count. They're not really telling us about this game. But action
They
and
are
adventure,
good though.
yeah, action adventure RPG. I would probably add single player if it would let it show.
Which
Again,
would be another. It would let it show, but it would be one of the kind of worthless ones.
yeah,
But
it's still
a
good to
worthless
have.
tag on Steam is still valuable.
Yeah, it's better than no tag.
Yeah.
Yep. So minimum for us to review it or to get a good grade, it needs to have at least 3.
Yeah, because it's easy to get 3 because
Mhm.
it's easy to put indie because if you're watching the show, you know, you're probably indie.
If it's a single player game, you can put single player.
Yeah.
If it's
If it's
multiplayer,
multiplayer, you can put multiplayer.
and
You
if it's
know, like,
both, you can put both.
yeah. So either way, you're going to get one tag in there, either single or multi. So there's no excuse for you not to have it, unless it's somehow a 0-player game. It's a game that plays itself. You know, like I think that would still be classified as a single-player game, but single viewer game. And then you can easily find one meaningful tag that describes your game, whether it's action, adventure, RPG,
strategy, whatever. Roguelike, anything. Like if you
and
can't get,
it doesn't have to be exact, because like we've seen games that there's no exact tag for it. Like I don't have any examples off the top of my head, but let's just say that your game is a visual novel and there is no visual novel tag. I don't know if there is or not, but I'm just throwing this out as an example. When you have a case like that, find the closest thing to it. And RPGs have somewhat visual novels to them, so list it as an RPG. Yeah. Now, I would not do that if there was a visual novel tag.
Yeah.
Because the last thing you want to do is get somebody here to your page that is not interested in your game.
Yeah.
But you need one meaningful tag.
Yeah. And like I just went to Disco Elysium for a second. They only have one tag, RPG. And again, that is not good. Now, with that said, keep in mind that when a game blows up, kind of the marketing on the store page becomes inconsequential at that point. That, if everybody and their brother, sister, mother, father are talking about your game because, PewDiePie played it or, it blew up like Among Us, the store page at that point is not really going to matter. But what we focus on is kind of, the foundation of your marketing. We're assuming that you're not going to be put in front of a PewDiePie and get, shown on the Super Bowl.
and not only that, but just getting on PewDiePie does not guarantee success. No. Because we've seen many games that got really big people to cover them. I mean, we had our friend Tim Ruswick over there, that we've done podcasts with in the past. He got covered by Game Theory. It's just a theory, a game theory. Maybe we should make a game theory about the game theory video for him. But like, he did not notice any kind of spike or even a slight change.
Yeah, and that's
when he covered the game. So like he could not even see like one single cell. There may have been one cell, but he couldn't see it based off of his other cells, and mind you that the game did not sell the best.
Yeah, and I think part of that, again, is that when YouTubers cover games, oftentimes it's about the YouTuber being marketed, not the game. And again, this is why we talk about how important this kind of foundational and organic marketing is. Now, when you go beyond that, what we're looking for in the bottom part, this is all for people to find you. So at minimum...
And you want them to find you.
Yeah. At minimum, you need to have a social media contact. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, whatever. You need a way for people to directly get in touch with you.
Yeah. And you also need a Discord server.
And if you do have a Discord server, it should be mentioned not only on the About This Game page, but it also needs to be mentioned here, because Steam did allow you to add that in, I think, a few months ago.
Yeah. And here's the thing. If you don't have a Discord server, you're doing it wrong right now. I mean, the market's probably going to change eventually, and Discord's going to be no longer required. Maybe, I don't know, maybe that'll be 6 months from now. Maybe that'll be 40, 50 years from now. We don't know. But as for the current market, a Discord is pretty much required.
Yeah.
And you want it to be a public Discord and not a private one.
Oh, yes.
Because if you're preventing people to like your game from joining your Discord and talking about your game, you're preventing word of mouth. You're preventing your game success.
Mm-hmm.
So you want a public Discord. It needs to be properly moderated by people who actually are on the development team. Maybe the development team doesn't need to be moderators, but they need to be the head over the Discord kind of thing.
Mm-hmm.
And and if they're not the ones that moderate, you need a team of really good moderators, and you need to keep those moderators in check, because so many times I have seen
Mm-hmm.
Discords that the developers are there, or maybe they're not there, and the moderators run unchecked.
Mm-hmm.
Whatever the moderator says goes, and you get these really power hungry people in there as moderators, and they really piss off all of your community, at which
Mm-hmm.
point you're screwed.
Yep.
So you need to make sure that you have a properly
Mm-hmm.
moderated Discord, and that does not mean ruling without iron fist, because I've seen so many that do that. And it also, I would also encourage other people to promote stuff on your Discord, because if I would definitely not, encourage them to only be there for that. You don't want people
Mm-hmm.
just coming to your Discord just to promote their own stuff. But you want people that are part of your community to be able to promote their stuff, because the thing is if they promote their stuff on your place, then they are likely to promote your stuff on their place.
Yeah. And I guess getting back to it, besides the Discord server, a website, I think in today's market, is kind of secondary. Because a lot of websites that unfortunately come from indie developers aren't the best, and I think it's kind of tainted the well in that regard. We've seen some really great websites, like I think it was not 2D and Top, the Greek one, or Greek. That was a really solid website. But if your website is bad, don't include it on here. Like, it's better to have no website than have a bad website.
Yeah, and if your website is bad, just don't make one to begin with.
Yeah. Now, you still need to have contact. You still need a way for somebody to directly message you. And if you have a Twitter...
Which would be best on, like, Twitter and Facebook and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Twitter, Discord works for that, but Discord is something that not everybody has at this point.
Yeah.
But Discord is a better place to connect to people. Where you can, and I would encourage you that even if you do have somebody running your community, your Discord community, by, their, your community manager or whatnot, as a developer, still be a part of that community. You don't have to spend every waking day on there, but talk to people on there, interact with them, have a few conversations. You don't have to spend all your time there, but, show that you appreciate your audience.
Yeah. And to Tommy's point, like, if there's a virus, if you put, like, ads on your game page, I've seen some developers do that as well. Yeah, like, again, we were talking, like, 10 years ago, like, website would be absolutely required. Today, not really.
Yeah. Today, if your website is not on point, don't make one at all.
Yep. And again, every bit of contact or every social media thing should be updated and should be kept continuous. So if you have a Twitter, I expect to see you posting on your Twitter. If you're on Facebook, I expect to see Facebook. You don't want to have, like, let's say, a YouTube channel and your last video was 6 years ago and got 10 views.
Yeah. And also on the website, not having a website does not excuse you from not having a press kit.
Yes.
You need a press kit either way, but that doesn't have to be a website.
Mm-hmm.
It can be a web page that is only accessible privately, that you link to all the journalists and YouTubers and whatnot. But somebody who actually is looking for a press kit should be able to search and find your press kit.
Yeah. And again, you do not want to make it difficult for people to get in touch with you. I've seen plenty of developers do that. Like, you have to jump through hoops. It's, like, hidden on a page. Again, like, it's basically like a store had somebody standing outside of it with like a baseball bat and like warding away like consumers who want to come in and buy your stuff.
A bloody baseball bat.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
And, that means that when you have your Twitter on here, make sure that people can send you a direct message.
and
That
if they can't, then have a website that has a press kit or have an email on there.
contact us.
Yeah. And make sure that it's like at the top. Like, don't have contact us at the bottom of the corner, like this big, in like very plain text.
Well, you definitely need that too.
Yeah, but you still need to have the easiest. It should be super easy for somebody to get in touch with you.
Yeah.
And,
Although, depending on your website, that might be a good thing to not have it at the top, because it really depends on your website. Because like for my current game, when I do my website for it, it's actually going to have where you can actually play on the website. So the game is going to be foremost on the top, and contact us is probably not going to be on the top unless it's on like some kind of UI in like the top corner, kind of tucked away, but still on the top, but like it's not going to be top, front, and center kind of thing, because the game itself is going to be top, front, and center. But, maybe it'll be in the top corner. It'll definitely be at the bottom at a minimum. Even if it is in the top corner, it'll be at the bottom, no matter what.
Yeah,
but
and I think Tomy has it like right there. Like, you want to do everything should be done as few steps as possible. You don't want to convolute how people get in touch with you. But I think with that, I think we're about at the end. Because, again, the title card, it's very easy to get a high grade on this. But if you don't do, like, even getting a high grade on this is not going to save your store page. Again, if your trailer is an F, an A plus title card is not going to bump that up to a B. That ain't happening.
Yeah. That's the other point we need to talk about, is how we actually take these individual grades and make a combined grade. And how we do that, we start with the most important thing of your entire store page, and that's your trailer. And your trailer is your core grade. And if you made let's say you made a B on your trailer, everything else added up, your thumbnail, if your trailer's a B, but your thumbnail's an S or an A plus, and your thumbnails are A or S, and your about this game is A or S, and your title card is A or S. If everything else is A or S, it's only going to take that, what I say, B, up into an A, just by 3 notches, from B to B plus to A minus to A. That is the most that it can possibly raise it.
It's
now,
never
if everything else is F, then the worst it could make it is from a B to a B minus to a C plus to a C. So, your trailer is so important to your grade as a whole, that it is, most of your grade. You can only get one solid, grade in either direction for your overall grade based off of your trailer grade. So if whatever your trailer grade is likely what your store page is, because if you do a few things higher and a few things lower, then it's all going to probably average out to be the same grade as your trailer.
Yeah. And another point about like our grades in terms of going from like F to S, that it doesn't take a lot in the grand scheme of things to get like a C or a B. Like, it's more about like the lower grades. It's more about screwing up than doing something amazing. But when you start getting higher and higher, when we're looking at going like from B to A and A to S, it takes a lot to move up at that tier.
Yeah, when you're talking about C, you're talking about average.
Mm-hmm.
You're talking about nothing special for any of it, and that's really easy to accomplish. But
Mm-hmm.
some people somehow screw it up. I mean, we've seen example in the previous episode slash earlier this episode when we covered subsistence, where they screwed up pretty much everything
Yeah.
royally, to a huge degree. And when you screw things up that badly, that's when you get D's and F's
Yeah.
kind of thing.
And
And we gave that one a solid F for the
yeah.
grade. And it you have to screw things really bad to get a solid F. And
Yeah.
you have to screw things up like you were purposely trying to screw them up to get an F minus
Mm-hmm.
for
And
your overall grade.
yeah, and like when we see games get like really bad scores like that, often it doesn't need a lot of work to at least get a C. But
Yeah, I mean, C is just normally
mhm.
just a small amount of effort.
But going from C to B and B to A, that's going to take some doing.
Yeah, because it it takes some real doing to go from a C to a D and D to an F,
Yeah.
because you really have to be trying to screw up, but you also have to really try to do really good to go from a C to a B as an overall
Mm-hmm.
grade, and
And
you have to really do something to go from a B to an A. I mean,
yeah,
like for the longest time, our highest grade was a B plus for the overall Steam page
yeah,
because
we've gotten very few A's.
yeah, I mean we've gotten what I think like 2, 3 A's.
Mm-hmm.
And I think one of those was an A minus. I don't think any of them were A plus. I think we've never encountered an A plus store page.
Yeah,
More or less an S page or an S plus.
yeah.
We've only encountered, you know, I think 2 A's, 1 A minus.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've gotten like probably about 10 B pluses, probably like
Mm-hmm.
20 B's or something.
And very few. I don't think we've hit into the double digits of F's yet, because again,
No.
to get an F, that's basically like driving your car into the train to cause it a wreck.
No, it's driving your train into the other train that's already heading for a train
Mm-hmm.
that there was already a train underground right there that was going to pop up, and a train that was falling from the ceiling to land on that train.
Mm-hmm. But
That is train wreckception.
yeah. But I think with that, let's wrap things up for this extra long episode. So, I hope this has given everyone a clearer idea in terms of what we're looking for, and also, again, just what you want to do with your store pages. Because, again, the store page is not going to, magically make your game sell 1 million copies. What
Yeah,
we're talking about are ways to, again, mitigate all the risks that come with game development. And a good store page that attracts people to it, that gets them interested, is a very fine first step. Because if your
yeah,
store page is really great and people want to check it out, it means they're going to show it to their friends, and their friends are going to show it to their friends. And 6 degrees of separation later, it may get to a big name YouTuber or a publisher may notice it. Like with examples from New Blood, that they have picked up the publishing of many games simply because somebody said, "Look at this cool thing I just found this developer did." They show it to New Blood and they're like, "Yeah, that is cool. Let's sign these guys onto it."
yeah. You totally missed Kevin Bacon there. I mean, Kevin Bacon could discover your game.
Of course, or 6 of them.
Yeah.
But with that said,
There is one last point I
mhm,
wanna go to, and I've already talked about this a little bit. Um, the Even if you get a good grade on this store page, that doesn't mean it's the best store page ever.
mhm,
It means it's the best off of what we grade on. One thing that we do not grade on that
mhm,
is very, very important and very, very key to your game's success is the game's aesthetics appeal.
mhm,
And if your aesthetics are not on point, even if you got a good grade on your trailer, it's not a good trailer.
And
Even if you
likewise,
got a good grade on your screenshots, it's not a good screenshot.
yeah, and likewise, even if we love your gameplay, if your aesthetics aren't on point or your store page is not good, it's not that great gameplay is going to be squandered.
Yeah, I mean the gameplay has no impact on the store page.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, but the aesthetics does, but we don't grade that.
Yep. Nor do we grade in terms of comparing. Like, we're not going to say that, oh, if Slay the Spire got an A, and then we review your deck building roguelike, we're not going to compare yours to Slay the Spire in terms of how our grade works.
Yeah.
But with that, yeah, or the story did a great job of showing that the game is bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. So,
and we don't penalize you based off of gameplay.
mm-hmm.
As we've said before, marketing and your store page and all that is what leads to sales. Gameplay is what prevents refunds.
And it's what also keeps people invested in playing your next game and the game after that. Because if you have a really horrible game, people won't want to buy your next game.
Yeah, it builds your fan base.
Yeah. And you want those numbers to go up.
But having people, build your fan base and having, them not refund doesn't help you when nobody buys it to begin with.
Yeah. And that's
why marketing is important.
Yep. And with that, let's end things for this show. So, as always, if you are a developer working on an upcoming game, a game that just came out, or just curious about how your store page did and want us to review it for our upcoming show, please get in touch. You will find contact information for both of us in our respective descriptions down below.
Yeah. And make sure to lick the smash button and smash the like button on both Josh's channel and my channel, as well as join Josh's Discord, join my Discord, Twitter, all the other stuff. All the links are down in the description of both Josh's video and my video. So join up.
Mm-hmm. If you want to catch these shows live, we start around 3:30, 4 p.m. ET on Thursdays. And you want to learn more about game design and game development, tune in to the Safely Extreme podcast Sundays, starting around 4:30 ET. But that is that. So come back for daily discussions on game design here and on game wisdom, where some of the art and science of games. And until next time, take care.